this you're not allowed. Guys, this is illegal to be this cool. Guys, do yourselves a favor and do Brian a favor. Let's all aim to give him a big head one day. Oh, damn, he's got a donk. I can't. I literally just can't get over how awesome that is. Welcome back to 4 Geeks by Geeks, the place where geeks come to geek out. As always, I am Boser, and this is your Monday night Geek Out Sesh. How are you, everybody? If you are in the chat, go ahead and do a shout out. Tell us you're here. Thanks for hanging out with us. This is, and I'm uncomfortable. Alex says, he's so sassy. Thanks for lying, Mom. This whole time, Alex, just my mom in chat. But if you guys have had a wonderful week, if you've had a terrible week, this is the place to take a breather, to be reminded of the fact that it doesn't matter what you're geeking out about, you can do it here with us. And we do it each and every Monday night. So if you haven't regularly tuned in, make sure you continue to do so, because we meet with a new geek guest each and every Monday night, about 8:30 Eastern Standard, live on Twitch and YouTube now. And you can always catch them back on podcasts or YouTube after the fact. But we're glad that you are here. If you haven't already heard some changes and some exciting things happening with FGBG, our Twitch streams that primarily used to happen on Thursdays were an ongoing campaign, whether it was D&D, City of Mist, or currently Fate Core. We decided to simply take that stream on Thursdays and purely upload it onto YouTube and podcast on Saturdays. So if you've stopped in recently wondering why we're not live on Thursdays anymore, that's simply why. And sometimes we'll do a surprise stream. It's just a little easier for all of us here when you're a bunch of adults trying to do adulting things and run an amazing community such as this. Sometimes they don't always match up schedule-wise. So this is meant to make it a little easier and make sure that we can be a little more consistent for all of you. Another thing T's got going on is a weekly Geekly. So if you haven't popped in on TikTok or Instagram lately, see that. It's kind of exciting. It's a quick bite-sized news of what is ever happening in the news in like recent months or that week. So it's just a chance to come have a conversation there in the comment section. And then speaking of dice, if you haven't already, use that affiliate link below and visit Minstrel. Minstrel is an amazing company. They handcraft leather dice trays, wooden dice boxes, leather dice bags, beautiful quality, still smells good, and all locally sourced from Poland, where he is at. So if you would like to do your dice a favor, show them the love that they deserve, because they're not just dice, they're your dice. And also, all the things that you buy from Minstrel through our affiliate link go to support the show. So it's just a little way to support us, and we appreciate you. But if you haven't already, use the command QOTD, because we're asking today, what was your favorite childhood craft? Majestic! Wee! I'm back, they say. Tell me, Majestic and Alec, anybody else in the chat, what was your favorite childhood craft? Because it's going to come into play with tonight's amazing guest, because they kind of took, in my opinion, a childhood craft to the next freaking level, one that I can't barely fathom. So I can't wait to talk about it. But one of the things that I loved, I don't know that it's a craft, but do you guys remember those books that they were like the magic coloring books? They were basically blank pages. They had all the lines, but you had one marker, but it was a magic marker. And as you scribbled in, it would color everything the appropriate color, because I don't know, some science way they colored the page in the first place. But I always thought that was so amazing. And the fact that you couldn't color outside the lines really was nice, because I hated coloring outside the lines. I was literally the kid that would open a page in the coloring book. As soon as I got outside the line, even if it was the first thing I colored, scrap it, start over, find another one. We had color back then. Yes, Alec, even back then. He also says, to be honest, I had ADHD, so sitting still and crafting was not really a thing. That's fair. That's fair. Even though for a lot of people, crafting and coloring is the cure to ADHD. It gives your mind a singular focus, your hands something busy to do, art in general. So let us know as we continue to delve forth into tonight's Geek Out Sesh. I doodled in class. Yeah, exactly. So did I. But I know you didn't come here to hear me flap my jaws. You came here to meet an amazing guest that I don't know a lot about. I've just been fanboying about his work for quite some time. And I believe I saw him from a distance at C2E2 a number of years back. And ever since, I've just been enthralled by what he's doing. And I can't wait to get to know him even better tonight and probably leave my new best friend. So please give it up for our geek guest tonight, Brian Harmon, also known as Perler Tricks.
That's me.
That's you.
Oh, very nice, very nice.
That's not me.
No, of course not.
Live
No.
audience.
Oh.
That's the entire chat.
Well, I appreciate that.
My mom clapping as hard as she can.
Well, I don't want to compliment your mom, but that's very nice, very nice.
She's really good at clapping. Yep. Don't talk about that in the comments. Anyway, Brian, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for having me. I look forward to talking about all of this stuff.
All this stuff?
Yeah.
Dude, you're cooler than anybody knows because I'm just going to air my dirty laundry. I think I've rescheduled you twice and you still agreed to come back with all the grace of the world. So thank you for having that patience.
I'm not sure if that makes me cool or if it just means that I have a lot of free Mondays, but.
Well, I have every Monday free, hence I fill it with this.
There we go. All right.
I don't know. Alex says, wow, Boser. I know. It's typical. It's typical at this point. But he likes your beard. Solid beard, Brian.
I will take that. I will take that.
Okay. So we're gonna chat a little bit, and anybody that's tuning in now, stick around because towards the end of the stream, we're gonna take this amazing art style that he does, and we're gonna kind of flatten it out into 8-bit Pictionary, where we're gonna try to do our best to draw some characters in more of an 8-bit style with a cool website that I found, and see how we do. So stick around for that. But first, Brian, tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do as a geek.
All right. I am an art teacher by trade. I teach high school art and college art as well. So that is my full-time gig. But for my funsies,
love that. Yeah.
For my funsies, I make costumes. So I got into cosplay about 10-ish years ago when I started making costumes for my kids, and then they got all of the reactions and I got jealous. And so I moved into making costumes for the whole family. Basically. So once they kind of aged out of me making costumes for them, I could force them to wear, then I started making costumes for just myself. And it's been that way ever since. So within the costuming world, though, I have kind of fallen in love with taking a geek craft and making it into costumes. So that's my gist right there.
It's a super cool gist. And before we really delve into the entire idea of the perler beads and that kind of craft, rewind the clock because I want to hear more about this fact that you're an art teacher.
Yeah,
I love art. One of my day gigs is I work for an arts integrated charter school.
Okay.
And it's really cool that we kind of blend the arts into the everyday education. What made you want to become an art teacher?
Both of my parents were teachers, so the idea of working in the summer was foreign to me. So having like a regular scheduled job was nothing that I was going to do. And then I really like art, although I did not get into art. I was originally going to do into computer programming. That's what I was doing all through high school. Then my senior year, I was like, I think I'll take an art class. And then I was like, okay, changed my mind. So I didn't take an art class in my senior year, but then that took over.
That's a big left turn away from computer engineering to art.
Yeah, I I'm kind of one of those logical artists, so I do a lot of logic based stuff, which I guess makes sense for the kind of work that I do.
You know what? That tracks. That really tracks. So, so you've always uh, been good at art. I'll take it.
Yeah, my mom was an art minor, so I had that
Okay.
kind of art in my background, but she was a science teacher, so
So
I
that's like
had that.
backwards from your trajectory.
Yeah, exactly.
You like finished each other's stories there.
Yep, the antithesis of each other. But
Yeah.
um, I have been teaching. This is my 22nd year teaching high school art, so I've been around a while.
God. Congrats and thank you for your service.
Eh. Most days I enjoy it. I won't say all days, but most days.
As a teacher, I would think that's a huge win then.
Exactly. Yep.
Yeah, well, good for you. And so then I love the fact that you were making costumes for your kids and you got jealous of the attention because you did all the work.
Yeah, I'm not going to be too proud to say that. I like one of my favorite ones. I made a well, I love the X-Men cartoon, the 90s X-Men cartoons. My son,
Oh, yeah.
like 4 on. I just made different X-Men costumes for him and took him to. I'm from Cincinnati, so I took him to the Cincinnati Comic Con, and he
Uh-huh.
got so much attention for all of those, and that's really what it was. I was like, okay, you were my toy that I played with for a while, and I wanted to do my own thing.
Hey, heroes, thanks for showing up tonight. Heroes of Evermore. Yeah, your kids are just toys that we play with. I like that. What was the first costume that you made your kid?
Oh, I made my son Magneto. Probably was the first one. It was either Magneto or Nightcrawler. One of the two was his first one.
And was that the first costume that you ever made?
No, my wife and I have always been into Halloween. We had a big Halloween party we went to for years that we like spent entirely too much time on making costumes for. But it was all the Halloween stuff. And then back in the like, I don't know, 20 years ago when zombie walks were a big thing, I got real into like horror zombie
Oh,
walk
yeah.
things. So
Uh-huh.
that was really my like entry drug into costuming, I guess.
But those original costumes were nothing like your Perler cosplays that you're doing now, right?
No, no, no. They with my son, they were mostly like semi homemade kind of things. Like his Magneto, I found a stormtrooper helmet, like buzzed out the front of it, and used that to make his Magneto helmet and stuff. So they were definitely kind of semi homemade deals.
I'm assuming that Stormtrooper helmets weren't as expensive as they are now.
No, like this is like a no, this is like a Walmart stormtrooper helmet for like
Okay.
$10. Like, yeah, no.
So I'm like, every time I go looking for those, I'm at a con. I'm like, ooh, maybe is this the year? It's like, ooh, that much? No.
Yeah, no, no, no.
Okay, so you always loved costuming, and then, like, what was one of your first original costumes that you finally made for yourself?
The first big one, my first big build was going back to my X-Men roots. I made Cyclops and Jean Grey for my daughter and son. And then I
Okay.
made myself a Sentinel because I was so much taller than them at the time that it just worked out
Nice.
as like the thing. So that was my first like actual foam build that I was doing of my own that I competed in and everything.
You competed that con too?
I'm competitive. Like I always tell my wife, like when we're walking to the car from a store, we're racing. She just doesn't know it. Like everything I do is competitive. So the first costume that I built, I was like, I'm going to compete in this thing, and I did. So yeah,
And how'd you fare that week?
that first one, I got second in novice, I think, at the Cincinnati Comic Con. So
Nice.
I'll
And
take it.
Cincinnati Comic Con is no small con, right?
Yeah, it's pretty decent size. It's no
Yeah.
C2E2, but it's a good one.
Well, no. But still, huge. Congrats, man. And did that just like light the fire and give you the bug
Yeah,
and stuff?
absolutely. Once you got that recognition, and I mean, we all like someone to tell us you did a good job, you know. So once you got that recognition, then I was just like, well, I got to do this forever now.
Well, I guess this is my life. By the way, what draws you to X-Men? Because I see you're wearing a Jubilee shirt.
I am.
I love that.
I read the X-Men comic growing up and everything. I always tell I was an only child, so I always say that like the X-Men were my best friends. So like,
Aw,
like I know it's kind of like after school
that's not
special
bad.
setting, but yeah, it's like I don't know. I really related to them, their whole like outcast thing and like their own little like pod of family and stuff. That was like my favorite thing. So they're my favorite.
And plus that theme song is just
Oh,
an earworm.
absolutely. I went to
It's
an
still stuck in my
animated, yeah. I went to the animated series panel the last time I was at a con, and they were all
Yeah.
talking in their voices, and I was like, like it was like the most perfect panel ever.
For me, that's one of the things that always gets me is you go to the voice actor cons or like panels and just closing your eyes and feeling like you're in the room with like Ash Ketchum or the Pinky and the Brain, Animaniacs. It's just next level geeking out for me.
Yep, I agree. It's good stuff.
So then you're full swing into the cosplay scene and you're getting some accolades. And so at that time, did you consider yourself, okay, I guess I'm a cosplayer?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all kind of deal with the whole imposter syndrome thing because, I mean, going back, really the second costume I made, I entered into the C2E2 Crown Championships just on a whim and I got accepted. And yeah, it was just
No, wait, what was it?
it was steampunk. It was a steampunk version of Cyclops from the X-Men because once again, I'm obsessed. So
Okay.
but it got
Huge.
accepted, and then when I got there, like everyone around me was making these like crazy elaborate things, and I was like, well, this is obviously just thanks for trying for me. But I saw what everyone else could make, and so it definitely took me like, okay, now I have to rethink what I'm doing here because I was going against. That was one of the years that the internationals were at the Crown Championship, so I was seeing all the international winners from all over the whole world, and I was like,
Asinine.
yeah, it was insane,
Crazy.
So
Yeah.
that was back 2016, 17, something like that. And once I saw that, I guess
There.
you
I
probably
saw you. I swore, I feel like I saw you. It might have been one of the first times that I was at C2E2 and saw the Crown Championships.
yeah. The year
And
I was there, there was a
Chicago.
steampunk me and a steampunk rogue both from the X-Men that same year, which is kind of ironic because it was steampunk year.
Yeah, and she had like a kind of a corset, a high-low dress.
And she had like almost wings that popped out when she went like, yeah.
I was there. I
Yeah.
literally remember her. I remember
There you
her
go.
and I remember you, and I think I got a picture with both of you somewhere.
Cool. That was my first time like really like big competing.
Dude, oh my god, I feel like I'm part of your story now. Part of my and that was my first Crown Championship that I'd ever seen, and I was like a kid in the candy shop seeing all what you guys were capable of and what cosplay could be, and my mouth never left the floor.
Absolutely, me too. I think that's what really kind of struck me on this like making more elaborate things was seeing what everybody else could make and just having like I want to belong here. What can I do?
That's interesting that you just said I want to belong here. Even though you'd already won some cosplay, or came second in Novice, was pretty great, and been accepted into the Crown Championships, which is basically the world championship of cosplay. And yet you still at that time didn't feel like you belonged there.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kind of speaks to the geek in me, like I'm used to not. So, I mean, I feel like I've fully entrenched myself in that community now. But at first I was like, well, these people are way cooler than me. What can I do?
I feel that all the time, and I know you're not alone, and neither am I. And it's just kind of annoying at this point, right? It's like, when are we going to convince ourselves that we belong here? Because if anybody said that to you, what would you say to them?
I mean, I would be like, well, yeah, you absolutely belong here. Like, I was at a con this past weekend. I was doing a panel about closet cosplay versus handmade cosplay and which one's more valid and stuff like that. And people were like saying, well, what do you say when someone comes up to you and says your costume isn't valid? And I was like, you tell them to kiss your whole butt. Like it's not any of their business, like, so absolutely. I accept everyone, but it's hard to get that through your own brain sometimes.
Yeah, we are our own worst critics. Majestic says can relate. Um, and Alex says no one's cooler than you, Perler.
Okay, I'll
So
take it.
no, I feel that. Wow, I didn't know that it was going to hit that deep for me right now, but it's so frustrating. And even though I have cosplayed and I really enjoy it and I'm a big fan, especially of what people like you do, like I can show up in cosplay and I'm like, oh, I'm not really a cosplayer. I'm cosplaying right now.
Yeah.
But is there really a difference?
No, I mean, I feel the same way. I'm also a distance runner. Like I run marathons and half marathons, but it took me
Yeah.
forever to put like one of those little run stickers on the back of my car because I was like, I run, but do I really like run? Like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, my hope is that one day, not only the world is convinced, but we ourselves are convinced that we belong here just because we love what we love, which is the whole fucking mission of 4 Geeks by Geeks, by the way.
Yeah.
And yet, I can't even convince myself.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to be each other's support team there.
Okay. When I see you at C2E2 in a way cooler cosplay, I'm going to come up to you just so you can tell me that mine is equally as cool, even though
absolutely, I will be your hype guy.
Thank you. Okay, so then you kind of realize that you can go bigger and broader in the cosplay scene. And so then what were your next steps from there?
Well, I know how to sew-ish. I taught myself how to sew, so I went with some of that, but I realized that I probably was never going to be like the sewer because there's these people that are like elaborate, great sewers, and I can do foam work, but once again, I'm not going to build like these enormous like Warhammer foam pieces. That's not really my jam. So in order to like really find my niche, I kind of decided to play around with pixel art. I had a business already with the like kind of like hipster craft fair business, like those that like are all over. I already had a business at hipster craft fairs where I made pixel art out of pixel beads, and I already had an established kind of name with that. That's really where the Perler Tricks name came from. So that was my business name, and I just borrowed that for my cosplay because I already had an established presence online, so I went with it.
Yeah.
So I was just like, let's see if I can make a whole costume out of beads. And that's kind of where I went with just kind of establishing what can I be the best at that someone hasn't already done.
And you give me like a loss for words just because like I'm looking behind you, and anybody looking back on podcast, please follow the links below. Check out Perler Tricks on Instagram or anywhere. Follow the links because you are going to be drooling on your phone. Grab a wet wipe on these like literal pieces of artwork that you create.
I mean, I cleverly placed these here because I wanted to have like some background candy going on,
That is some major candy. Okay, so anybody that doesn't know what pixel beads or perler beads are, can you quickly define those?
I can.
For anybody that wasn't born in our era.
I have visual aids. So pixel beads or perler beads, they're little plastic beads. They come in bags like that, and then they are little guys like that.
I'll make you bigger. I'll make you bigger.
Well, there we go. Little guys like that. Those are pixel beads. They are plastic beads that you stick on a board like this. The board's a little pegboard. When you put them on a board like that, you place them, and then you melt them with an iron, and they form things like these guys.
Oh, this Exorcist. That's sick.
Yeah. This was the kind of stuff I did originally. I made lampooning things by making horror icons and things like that out of a kid's craft, and then sold them in places. So that was where I first got into doing it. But then from there, I played around with it and figured out how I could make 3D things like this guy.
Yum! I can't. I literally just can't get over how awesome that is.
So yeah, I mean, it took some planning to get there, but that's where I went to.
So did you just like stumble across like your kid's art project one day and like, oh, I should make some art out of that?
Actually, it's one of my former high school students, and I have given her credit multiple times. She's really what did it. I mean, I did these things when I was little. They were like a like kids crafts thing that I did some,
Yeah,
but
at camp
I,
or something, right?
yeah, something like that, exactly. But I mean, when I was teaching back 10 years ago or so, I had a student in my AP art class. And I don't know if you ever took AP art or knew someone that did. You have to have like a single focus that you work on throughout the year for AP art.
Okay.
And her focus was creating portraits out of various media. And she was doing all self portraits out of various media. And she was adopted from China. So there was more to it about like her identity and her identity here in America versus her identity in China and stuff like that.
Sure.
Anyway, she wanted to do a pixel portrait, and there was no, I couldn't buy them through my supply catalog, so I just had to go out to Michael's and buy a big old tub of pixels for her. And she did them. She turned out it was a really good portrait. It was a really nice one that she made. But then at the end of the year, I had a bucket full of leftover beads, and I
Yeah.
yeah, and I purchased it with my own money. So I just brought them home, and my son was little then, so I was like, let's make Mario. So we just did that for a while, and then I realized that I just really liked it. It just spoke to me, and so that's where I fell in love with it. And like I do all kinds of stuff with it. Like I have a whole art history series that are out of pixels, like
Oh my God. It's the Last Supper.
The Last Supper, and it's semi 3D. You can see how it's popping off
Oh,
3D
cool.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I did a whole art history series out of them, and I did a whole album cover series where I like took popular album covers and made them in little pixels and stuff like that. So that's where it took off as selling stuff. Like there's all kinds of my Perler geek album covers floating around the world in various places right now.
Because if it speaks to you, it's got to speak to somebody else.
Yeah, yeah. I think I mean it has that nostalgia, but it's also geeky. Like it rides that line, you know.
I think that might be partially why I'm drawn to this art form. Um, it triggers some weird itch from the back of my childhood brain.
Yeah.
Plus, it's geeky. Plus, it's unique. Like you don't see that too often. Plus, it's insanely artistic and amazing, and the detail and
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I teach college, I adjuncted at college as well here in Cincinnati. And it used to be when I taught my college classes and I would introduce myself at the beginning of the year, I'd be like, here's my real art. And I wouldn't talk about my cosplay stuff. And that was like my low art. And there was my high art because I have 3 degrees of photography. I'm like a photo nerd, really, is what I am. But yeah, but I don't do much of it. I just teach it because I guess teaching it, I get kind of tired of doing it, you know?
Yeah.
So I always had that as like, here's my high art when I have this like deep intellectual heady art, and then I have geeky stuff on the side. But I've gotten now to I just say, here's my photography and here's my cosplay, and both of them are my art because it's all stuff that I'm making and expressing myself.
There you go. I'd say that's growth for you then.
Yeah, it took a while.
That this is also your art.
Yeah,
good for you. Good for you. There's hope for us yet.
There you go.
By the way, DGF Hero says, I met him at PopCon last year.
Yeah, I saw that. I was there. It was I wore my Tiny Tina. That's this guy here. Or this lady here. I wore Tiny Tina at PopCon. So it's all pixels as well.
Ooh. I'm obsessed with that Tiny Tina. Ugh. So cool. Fun. Y'all, if you haven't already, do command Perler. Or if you're listening back or watching back, check out the links below. And that's going to go to all the links. Please show him some love. If you don't have more followers by the end of this chat, then I'm rioting. So I understand there's a pegboard, there's beads, you put it, you flatten it, you iron it. It comes with basically a 2D piece of art.
Yep.
So how in the hell do you do that to make those 3D Boba Fett armor or the 3D Tiny Tina entire cosplay?
Yeah. A lot of trial and error. That's really the answer. Things like this is Tiny Tina's blaster.
Fuck, dude. That's too cool.
So she is, it's EVA foam. So it has EVA foam on the inside, and then
Okay.
it's basically just skinned then. So it'd be the same way that you would skin something in vinyl or something like that. I take and make patterns off of my EVA foam, and then it's just a bunch of layers. Like it's just layering and layering. And then like something that's rounded like this, while it's still hot, I had to work on everything with heat gloves because it's all hot when you iron it.
Uh-huh.
And while it's still hot, I take and I roll it around things, and I'll like tape it onto something that's round, and then throw it in the freezer and let it freeze and maintain that shape. And then
Uh-huh.
when it comes back out, then it has that 3D feel to it. So like, ooh, that's what I do with like rounded things like that.
The entire Boba Fett helmet.
But it they don't like complex curves. So like the top here, I have it curving this way, but it won't curve
Uh-huh.
that way too. So
Yeah.
that's why I have these like kind of ridges in here because I had to build it up almost like, I don't know, like a Christmas tree or something.
Yeah. I think it's cool. It adds to it.
Yeah, that's the only way to get complex curves. Everything else, it's basically, I mean, it functions like anything that you can fold and make like cardboard or something like that. You can get
Mm-hmm.
it to do that. And it'll take curves too, like the ears and stuff like here. It's just while it's hot, you have to curve it and then let it cool down while it's curving. And
Because
then
that is a single layer, right? That's not
yeah,
skinned around
yeah.
EVA.
This one's just a single layer for the ears there. And all the hair is, it's just layers and layers of all of the hair.
Jeez. And I love that you even cell shaded with the perler beads for the Borderland style.
Yeah, I mean it lends itself to that already because everything has a
Yeah.
black outline pretty much, so
Uh-huh.
it just goes with it. And I like cell shading costumes anyway. I do a lot of that paint style for like faces and things like that. So
Mhm.
why not incorporate it?
DGF Hero says, God, you're tempting me so much to try this style.
You obviously should. I mean, there is no one. I mean, I'm never going to be like, I own the Perler style. I love it when people do this stuff.
I don't know. I want to commission you to come to my school and like teach a master class.
Yeah, a master Perler beading class. I'm there.
Yeah. How many people can say they can teach that?
That's true. That is true.
So Majestic brings up good points that it must have taken forever. So
It does.
how long from the moment that you have like the idea, you have the beads and you want to make the entire end of the cosplay? What's that timeline?
It that's hard because I don't work on them constantly, you know.
Sure.
I usually make one competition build a year. That's pretty much what I focus on. If I can get a competition build done in a year, then I feel like I'm doing okay. I'll do like little fun builds in between there that are not bead builds. My Tiny Tina, she took a whole year to do. And Boba Fett,
Yeah.
by the time I get it done, it's probably going to be like 10 months or something like that to get it totally done.
Like, I don't understand how, like, do you have this like a mile long pegboard for these things? Or do you have to craft them
Well,
on something smaller and make it all
these
work?
guys have, see how they have puzzle pieces on the side?
Uh-huh.
You can connect as many as you want. So you can make it as big as your table.
Oh.
And
Is
then
that how big they have to be for your builds?
for some parts, yeah, like, let's see if I can reach it here. Tiny Tina has pants. Like, these are Perler pants that I wear.
What?
So,
How
yeah.
do you even put those on?
They have they have elastic built into them. So they stretch on the sides. And
Oh,
then,
okay. I'm on the sides.
yeah, they stretch on the sides, and then I sew them together with elastic string. So they flex and I can walk. I walk stiffly, but I can walk in them.
Do you feel like a Lego man when you're in the?
Yeah. It actually kind of adds to it because it's a cartoon, video game character, so I kind of look like I'm doing some kind of like really awkward video game character kind of that kind of guy when I wear it. Yeah. But when I do that size, it took like my whole table because basically like the entire brief area is just like one big honking melted thing.
So do you do like the front and then the back, or do you do it all almost like if you were sewing pants
Yeah, it's that.
You would do the front and back simultaneously, but then you curve it around.
Yep. So like for the leg, that's just one big piece. It has to have foam inside, it's not comfortable. But that's one big piece, and it has a seam on the inside here, just like your jeans have a seam on the inside there. When it was hot, I have, you know, those like foam rollers that you use to like relieve tension in your back or whatever that you roll across.
Yeah.
I have one of those, and while it was hot, I just wrapped it around there and taped it on there and let it cool down, and then I have a leg.
But how do you figure out the measurements? Because like DGF right now, to kind of highlight you too, DGF, he is 3D printing a new helmet for himself. And it's taken him a minute to get the scale and the measurements. Like you try it once, it wasn't quite right, but that's a 3D printer. It's not quite right. It took time, but at least passive time. Like you maybe reprogram it, put it back on the printer, let it do its thing while you go do something else. If you are wrong in these measurements, you are screwed. You have to start all over.
Yeah, and I have been plenty of times, but I do a lot of, you know the duct tape method, where you duct tape yourself and make patterns on yourself and everything.
Yeah,
that's what I do a lot. I do a lot of duct tape method, and then I expand it a little bit up from there because I've learned from failures that I can always cut it down, but I can't make it bigger. So I always do a little bit bigger, and then if it's too big, I can take scissors and cut off the edges.
So you literally just cut it once it's all dried and melted together. You just cut it with scissors?
Yep, it'll just cut with scissors. I was looking to see if I had any scraps around here, but yeah, it'll just slice up.
Wow, you're just like basically making rubber in a sense.
Yeah, I'm very similar. Like it's like a thin layer of plastic. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I love that duct tape method. I first saw it, I think it was Kamui Cosplay.
Yeah.
She's really good at the armor builds. She's gonna be a future guest, by the way. I'm manifesting it now.
That's awesome.
She's not booked, but I'm manifesting it.
Got you.
But for those that don't quite know, do you want to quickly talk about like what's that process look like with the duct tape?
Oh, duct tape method.
Yeah.
So the duct tape method, especially, it works really well if you're making custom costumes or if you're an awkward size. So I am an awkward size. I'm 6'1" and weigh about 130 pounds. So I am a very tall, skinny guy. So they don't make patterns that are my size very well, especially if you go to like, I don't know, Punish Props, or if you go to Evil Ted or things like that, they don't fit me well. So I have to do all my own patterning with things. So basically you just take and you wrap yourself. Like if I want to do my arm, I would wrap myself in saran wrap. So that way the tape does not stick to me. And then I would take
off all of your hair.
Yeah, rip off all of your arm hair. No good. And you take either duct tape or duct tape or packaging tape. Either one works. And you wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap and wrap. We'll tell you, if you're doing an arm, don't wrap around it like a tourniquet because it'll cut off your circulation. So if you're doing an arm, make vertical strips on yourself, and then you draw whatever shape you want. So if I'm doing, oh gosh, get out of there. If I'm doing Boba Fett's bracer, all right. So if I'm
every time you pull something out in front of the camera, I have to stop breathing for a minute.
So you draw on the shape that you need for Boba Fett's bracer on there. So I would draw on like, I need it to go from here to here, draw it on there. And then you take scissors and you cut it off of yourself, and you have the shape that fits your body exactly, so that you then can make it. So you can see inside here, it has foam on the inside. So it has a foam base. And then this is a whole lot of skinned beads on top of it to make the three-dimensional thing and to build it all up and all that stuff.
Do you use just like 2mm foam?
Oh no, for this one is probably 4mm. I'm guessing.
Okay.
It's covered with beads, so it's kind of hard to tell. But it all depends on what I'm doing. Like his chest is thicker foam, so I want it to look more armored. So it has thicker foam on it. But then like these little pockets down here, those are like little thin foam. So it all depends on what I'm making with it, how thick I want it to pop off.
Do those pockets actually work on his belt?
Oh yeah.
Of course they do.
You got magnets and they close up.
So cool.
Yeah, that's one of those things no one will ever know, but it makes me happy to know. Like I'm determined to
You
carry
keep
like
sitting there.
yeah, I'm carry business cards or something in there, be like, hello.
Oh yeah. DJ's like, if you're making pockets, you got to make them work.
Exactly. You know what's up.
But then that's how you get like the shape of it. But like even in that I can see behind you with the Boba Fett and the shine and like the kind of what am I talking about? Like the cell shading in the pants.
Yeah.
Like there's almost a drawing to it. Do you first like sketch that out anywhere else, or do you just kind of play with the beads until you like what you see?
So this will sound snobby and I don't mean for it to, but I think that's the like background in teaching art that comes out to me.
There you
Because
go.
I'm so used to like I'm teaching students right now how to draw portraits, and I'm so used to showing them where to recognize the highlight and where to recognize the shadow and stuff. I really
Mm-hmm.
just sit down with the colors that I want and I just start plucking them on there. So there are pixel programs that you can put a picture into them and they will pixelate them for you, and then you can follow the bead pattern. I don't ever use
Yeah.
those. I go freehand.
You freehand perler bead artist, you.
Yeah, free bead. I free bead.
Free bead. I'm a free
There you go.
beader.
Exactly.
But there's got to be like even looking at Boba Fett behind you, like 17 shades of green to get all of the shading in there.
Yeah, I lay them out there. I mean, there's plenty of times that I do it, and I'm like, that's ugly, and I have tweezers that I use to pull them back out, and then I put them back down and
Okay.
everything. But for the most part, I play with it until it looks good.
By the way, hello Earthos said let's go. Earthos was on last week.
Hey,
Coming back to show some love to the next guest. Do you mind if I scroll through your Instagram while we're talking?
yeah, that's fine.
Just to show off a little bit of what we're talking about here.
Yeah, by all means.
In a given cosplay like Boba Fett, about how many beads do you think you're using at one time?
Well, I mean, I could tell you exactly because I'm a nerd and I keep a spreadsheet.
You are so cool. Okay, how many are in Boba Fett?
Let's see here. Currently, let me pull it up here. I don't have it pulled up because I have not added anything new to it really recently because I have been working on one certain thing. Currently,
Okay.
it's at 89,491.
Oh!
But
89,000?
Tiny Tina right there has 180,000 in her.
Wait, well, here we go.
Yeah.
Let's make Tiny Tina bigger. Wait, I want to find a full image.
Yeah, there should be a full body on there somewhere.
Here's a little more. Oh my God. 100,000 you said?
180,000.
Jeez.
I told you I'm the like kind of scientific side of art, so I'm all about the spreadsheet. Yeah, there's a full size one right there.
Oh, and I love this. This calls out your first.
Yeah,
that was
that was that guy.
Sentinel.
And then that's the steampunk Cyclops I was talking about.
Oh, yep. I remember the journey, and here's the master. Wow. I think when I first looked at this, I didn't realize it was all beads.
Yeah, the shoes are beads and everything.
And the shirt is beads.
Yep.
Brian, this is you're not allowed. This is illegal to be this cool.
I don't think Boba Fett will hit that level because there's just not as many beads in it because it's not like it has an underbase of just fabric. So I don't think I'll hit that level with it, but it's getting up there pretty high.
So then when you're making a gun like this, like Boba Fett's blaster, basically, if I'm understanding right, it's kind of like a four-sided object that you wrap on the sides, you wrap on the tops and the bottom, and then, curve the parts that you want to.
Yeah. If you want to scroll back up to the top where I have the I don't know what they call them, those guys at the top where it says Boba Fett right there, or Tiny Tina.
Yeah. Here we go.
Those are a lot more. Yeah, if they decide to cooperate. Those have a lot more work in progress kind of thing. So yeah, you can see that I start with EVA foam. And Yeah, that's my helmet. You can click through those however you want to, but it has like a helmet. It has an EVA foam base for the helmet.
Okay. That
And then
makes sense. Make the whole
this is
thing.
gonna get into sewing because I did a lot of sewing for this one too. So that's not as fun to talk about. I
But
think
you
most
didn't
people know
normally
how
know
sewing.
how to sew,
Yeah,
right? You just learned through this process.
yeah. And when you're competing, you like to incorporate as many skill sets as possible. So if I can do the sewing work in addition to the bead work, that works better for competition wise.
And it's always nice to know. Oh, the top layer. Okay, top layer of the helmet we're looking at.
Yep. But
It's
yeah,
those additional little elements that people will never know unless they stop and ask. Or
yeah,
so the
yeah,
basketball was the
yeah. I
base
use
to
that
get
to like
around
get a
it.
curve. Yeah, get a curve to it.
Did you realize that your head is about the same size as a basketball?
I did. I did. It worked out all right. Yeah,
And what is this? This is the
that's
magnet
the
in the what? Oh,
that's
the
the
helmet
thing.
thing.
It it works.
Oh,
So I was
of
really
course it
stoked
has
that I got
to
to
move.
move. So yeah, that's working on
You
shoes
are
and stuff.
so
So
freaking
yeah,
cool. I feel like shoes would be so damn hard.
they're they're stiff. So you have to work in a flex point or else you can't walk well.
Hmm.
So I learned that the hard way. So I make like a little space on the toe there so I can walk around in them.
But is it built around a real shoe or is
Yeah,
it like a big sock?
yeah. I
Okay.
have a real shoe in there and then I skin it with that. But they're pretty comfortable.
Oh my God. Well, yeah, when you're walking around all day, you've got to be comfortable.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the idea there. Like I put tape on my hand and figured out what I needed and then
Oh my God.
make the
Gloves,
glove.
people. He made gloves. Perler gloves with cell shading, mind you.
But I keep a
I'm
lot of
upset.
my how-to process or my progress in these like story, whatever they call them up here, the top of the thing story there, just in
Yeah.
case you want to see how I make things.
I'm so glad you did because it's amazing to talk to you, but this is helping put some tangible bits to what you said before.
Yeah.
And then you can always look back and look, I made that. I
Yeah.
made that.
It helps too if you're competing. I have like an automatic build book here. I just download these and stick them in a folder and I have explanation of how to make things.
Since you're so competitive, is that ever a fear that now you've given somebody else a how-to guide on how to do what you're doing?
No, I've thought about that because when I first got into cosplay 10 years ago or so, there was quite a bit of gatekeeping. If you asked someone how to do something, they'd be like, I'm not going to tell you because they wanted to hold it to the chest. But I think
Yeah.
coming from a teacher background, my whole goal is to teach people. So that's kind of foreign to me not to share with someone. Not to mention, I don't think anyone's ever going to do it the same way I do it. Just because they know the concept, they may not do it the same way that I was going to do it. So
And who's going to devote the time unless they really want to?
that's true. It's kind of obsessive.
Like, do you have any other hobbies or do you just never leave your workroom?
I mean, I told you earlier I run, so I run, but right now it's cold and snowy, and I'm not feeling like doing that.
Right.
So I'm pretty much not doing that.
I can't stop staring at these stories. Okay. Also, on your story today, you said something about this is a completely different tangent, but I'm curious because this is old man Boser raging about the internet.
Okay.
You had one story. It was like a reel of the guy trying to get past, and there's someone making a TikTok on the bridge, and it says the guy trying to get past. You said me hoping my reels like get any traction on social media,
Yeah.
and the guy blocking is the Instagram's algorithm. But you do such a great job of documenting. How is the wild, wild west of the internet going for you?
Terrible. I got on Instagram pretty early with my Perler beads, and back when I had half of the followers, I got way more interaction than I do now.
And it was fun. You're like, oh, if I put effort into it, it grows and it's rewarding.
Yep.
Now you put effort, it, you get less, you feel worse, you give up. At least that's
Yep.
my, maybe that's just me.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I definitely get frustrated with it, especially because I've won enough. I feel like such a snot because I am not a braggart kind of person, but also like I'm just
That's why we're here.
being, yeah, being factual. I won
Yeah.
TwitchCon last year with Tiny Tina for the FX category. And so
Nice.
that opened doors for me for judging at competitions around the country and stuff. And
Hmm.
so with a lot of those, when I'm applying, they like to see numbers on Instagram. They like to see engagement on Instagram. And then with the algorithm being a turd, then I don't have that. And so it frustrates me, because I'm doing my work and then I'm getting dodged.
Yeah, you are doing all the work that you should do and that previously worked.
Yeah.
And now I used to have a lot of fun on social media, and now I just feel like it's constant moving of the goalpost and like a hamster wheel that Meta is just holding out this treat of a 1 million follow. But
Yep.
keep working, see if you get it, just to make us fuel their machine.
Yep. I feel that.
I'm so frustrated by it. And I
But
don't know what the answer is.
yeah, I think the answer is more just making real relationships with real humans because that's what's worked out best for me.
Yeah. And doing it because you enjoy it,
Yeah.
not because you're aiming for a certain number. And that's why I love these geek out sessions because, like, to be honest, they're not breaking the internet. This is not what gets us the most follows or likes on our channel,
Yeah.
but it gives me the most rewarding feeling. I get to meet somebody new. We have like a genuine, cool conversation in a night, and then we keep up for the years to come. And I
Yeah.
have a greater appreciation for what you do.
Yeah. I love the cosplay community and the geek community because when I connect on things like this, now when I see someone in person, I'd be like, hey, I know you. And I don't have to just like lurk around the edges and just watch from the sidelines.
Yeah, you almost feel like you belong.
Yeah. Almost.
Almost. Not quite, but almost. All right, so then since you're a teacher and you can't help but teach, for all the people drooling in the chat now, or whether you're drooling now on YouTube, watching after the fact, um, help us understand, like, what was a time where you got really frustrated? Like, this didn't just happen overnight, even though it sounds like you're just naturally good at everything, which pisses me off. But I know that's not the case, or I hope that's not the case
Yeah.
for my
Yeah. For sure.
psyche. So share a time when you got really frustrated and you had something to overcome and you learned a lot from it.
Oh, I mean, every costume I make, I do something wrong. Like I'm the first to admit that I screw things up. Everyone, the one you're on right now is my Doctor Strange, and it's a son. Like I told you, I do like sewing projects in between my beaded projects to give myself a brain break.
Sewing projects are your brain break?
They are, yeah, they are.
What is your
They're not
brain?
as intense with. I mean, they don't give me arthritis in my thumbs like the beads do.
Sure.
So, but I mean, I'm a self-taught sewist, so I probably pull out a seam for every 3 seams I get in good. Like
Yeah.
I am well acquainted with the seam ripper. Um, Shit, when I was doing this costume, I think it was I sewed the arms on backwards. I went to put it on, and the like elbows were bent the wrong way, and I had to take the
Oh
arms back off
no.
and put them back on. So yeah, I mean, every costume. Oh, that right there, the belt, that was fabric because I don't know what I'm doing when I'm buying fabric. I'm just like, this is pretty, I'll buy that. I went
Uh-huh.
to iron it. It's synthetic. I just melted all the way through the first one that I made, had to make it again. So yeah, I mean, don't don't let it be thought that because I compete that I have it all pulled together. I just show what got pulled together in the end.
Yeah, they don't see the hours and hours and months of frustration when
Yeah.
everything went wrong. Okay,
I
that's good to know.
Yeah, that thing right there too. I made that out of faux leather. The first time I made it out of foam, and when I put it on, it stretched. So I had to then go back and make it out of faux leather. Like my Tiny
Oh,
Tina, the Tiny Tina has the big backpack and the big chest plate. I sewed an undersuit to put it onto. The first time I sewed the undersuit out of the not right type of fabric and it stretched. And so it was all like droopy. So I
oh,
had to re-sew it with a different fabric. I had to go like message some of the sewing cosplayers I know. And I was like, what should I have used? And they told me what to do. So I screw up all the time.
and it's great that you now built that community that you have people to
Yeah.
say to.
Yeah. So like, I don't know if you know Casey Renee cosplay. She is a super sewing cosplayer. She's really into like doing ball gowns and all that stuff. And she actually works for,
Seen it.
yeah, she
I just
works for a company that sews stuff. Like she gets, like she has a sponsorship with sewing stuff. So if I have a question about those, I'm just like,
amazing.
yeah, I send it to her, like, tell me what to do.
DJ has a question. He says, "My question is, how do you get into the competitions really?"
I mean, for most of them, if you're looking at like a local con, like a Cincinnati or Lexington or Louisville or something like that, that's my area here. You just go and you show up on the time and you do it. So those don't have prerequisites. If you're
Mhm.
looking at something like the Crown Championship or the Grand Prix with fan expos and things like that, those you do have to pre-register. So you register early, you send in progress pictures, show them what you're doing, and then they make a selection of the ones they want to come on stage.
So there you go. Just do that, DJ. And usually for each con, if you look at least the year prior, there's usually applications that you can find through their websites. What up, CJ Prop Studio says hello.
I will highly recommend that people join costume contests though if you enjoy it, because I have made the most friends backstage waiting to go on stage. When you're backstage looking at each other's costumes, you get to look up at it all close, and you're all the same like kind of geek that likes to make costumes. So you get to be like, ooh, how did you make that? And how did I do this? You get to talk to people about that. That's where I've made the most connections, is in the backstage waiting to go on stage.
And that's where you get to geek out over each other. And I've never seen or heard about like negative, fierce competition in cosplay.
Yeah.
Like everyone's really supportive. Like you're sad that you don't win, but you're not ever mad someone else won over
Yeah.
you.
Yeah. I always
You
support
are
my fellow. Yeah. I celebrate my fellow people all the time.
This is gonna be my new like Zen talk. Is just watching your stories, your highlight reels. This is so relaxing and daunting and inspiring for me, to be honest.
No. I have a lot of fun with it. I just saw like CJ Prop there said that they've done the NYCC Crown Champions. That's a goal of mine. I want to get there sometime and try that one out.
You'll make it. Manifesting it now.
I appreciate that.
Like, and I see no reason why you couldn't. Like, look at this. I just am so impressed that you have a goal, and it sounds like once you have the idea, you don't stop until you figure it out, no matter what kind of complications or obstacles you run into. And you're doing it for the right reasons, which is just out of pure curiosity and probably competitiveness. But is it more competitive against like yourself?
Oh yeah, for sure. And yeah, I always want to see. Yeah, I want to see what I can do if I can outdo myself.
So then you're working on Boba Fett now. Will you tell us what you have down in the horizon?
I actually was thinking recently about what my next beaded one will do, because like I said, I got to take some breaks because doing too many beaded ones gets over. But the next in between project that I have coming up, I am working right now on the finale of Loki season 2, when he was, which spoiler alert, he has a new costume at the finale of season 2, so I won't give a whole lot of that away. But I'm working on Loki's finale of season 2 right now. I got one of his horns here that I was working on before I got on with you guys.
Nice.
So that's my next thing coming up.
Yep, that's gonna be my butt. That was my story. And you said that's gonna be a bead or that's gonna be a sew?
It's gonna be a sew. Yeah, it's one of those. It's actually kind of a like semi-homemade closety kind of thing. I do a lot of semi-homemade stuff when I do my fun ones, where I buy a few pieces and then make other things and then put it together.
Speaking of buy, Earthos Quest Creations has a question. How
Oh,
much do the beads cost? Like at the end of the project, when you used 180,000 beads, like, do you mind sharing about what that runs?
well, I've never done that whole math because I don't want to be sad. But
Oh, you won't do. I get it. I see. Smart.
yeah,
We are
hey,
the same.
they come in thousand bead bags, and when you buy as many as I do, 1,000 bead bag costs about 250. So whatever that would equal, 250 times 180.
$2.50 or
Yeah,
250?
yeah,
Okay.
$2.50.
Okay. But you can always use them in the future. So you're
Yeah,
just like restocking.
yeah, and
I'm here to help you. I'm here to enable your addiction.
and I mean, if I do really well, I sometimes win prize money that I just funnel right back into buying more. So
I can't win if I don't buy more.
yeah, exactly. Oh, that's how I melt them. I should have mentioned that. When they're big like this, you can't just melt them on the board because they're too large. So you have to
Oh.
tape them down and then you flip it over and then you melt it from the other side.
So basically you're melting it from the underside that's not going to be shown on the
Yeah.
outside.
Yep.
Damn. Okay, like one pant leg, beating all that. How long does that take?
Oh, it would several hours for sure. Because you saw me there that I place them all by hand. They're all
Yeah,
just there.
crazy. I love that you have a butt. You gave yourself butt cheeks.
Yeah.
And the weird part of me, I wants to know, what do you do? What do you listen to? What are you like watching while you're beating?
I mean, I I got a television in here, so I'm watching stuff like it's whatever I'm obsessed with at the time. I tend to just like I really love competition reality shows, so I watch a lot of Project Runway while I'm doing this, believe it or not.
I love that show.
So
And I'm
that's
sure it's inspiring. You're
yeah,
learning while beating, while being entertained.
yep. So and you don't have to watch that real close, so you can just kind of have it going on in the background.
Yeah. Do you like the trashy stuff like 90 Day Fiance?
Not as much. I like give me Top Chef, give me like competition stuff, not as much Kardashian stuff.
Okay.
I take it you
Kardashians
got
are
like
the line, but I do love 90 Day Fiance.
are you I was
That's
gonna
our
say are
nightly
you
tradition,
no judgment. You're allowed to love what you love.
right? I just tried to find my fellow 90 Day Fiancers. Ugh, Brian, this is so cool. Like, do you know how cool you are? Do you ever have a moment you're like, yeah, I am badass?
Very rarely, very rarely. When I win something, that's pretty much when I feel that.
That's as close as you get, but you have to win.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I will tell you, I work with fan expos some, and this past
Okay.
summer, Fan Expo flew me out to Denver to judge their costume contest, and that's the furthest away that I've
Nice.
been. And when I got out there, I was like, I'm just in Denver, and I had several people come up to me and knew who I was in Denver, and that kind of blew my mind. Like that was one of those humbling moments that I was like, yeah, maybe I do have something going on here, you know?
Yeah. Guys, do yourselves a favor and do Brian a favor. Let's all aim to give him a big head one day. We're going to inflate your ego to the point that it honestly probably should be by now, because this shit is wildly cool.
You know,
I've
I
never seen
appreciate
this
it.
cool.
I am not good at that at the ego thing, so I will work on that.
2024 goals. This year, I'm going to become an ass.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't want to fit. I don't want to have to remake my Boba Fett helmet, so I can't get too big headed.
There you go. There you go. Um, what's like end game for you? Do you know, or are you just kind of exploring this path? Like, do you have a goal like 5 years from now, other than going to Crown Championships of NYCC?
I mean, not really. I teach in Kentucky, and Kentucky is a really good state with retirement, so I technically can retire in 5 years. So
Nice.
when I retire, I'm going to do something else with my life, just because I did the teaching thing, and now I'm going to do something else. But I think cosplay is always going to be part of that, just because I enjoy it so much.
Would you ever try to do this so that this is your job?
I don't think so, because I have friends that do it as their full-time job, and when it is no longer, when it's your moneymaker, it isn't as much fun. Like
That.
yeah.
That.
I have a friend who she flew to India and Austria and several other places because they flew her there to do their costume contest, and she wasn't home like at all. And that sounds glorious, but also I don't want to do all that. That's a lot.
It's always like the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah, for
Because
sure.
we've talked about on this channel, we're like, man, one day, wouldn't it be nice if this is our full-time gig and we just get to like make content and go to cons and meet people? And on paper, it sounds really nice, but there's days where like I have to edit something for the channel, and because I have to, I'm like, I don't want to. But when the time I do best work for this channel, honestly, is when I'm at work. I steal away and I like sneak.
Yeah.
And then it's fun. And I'm really productive, actually. I can do more in 30 minutes at work than I can do in 2 hours at home.
There you go. You double it up. It makes sense.
That's right. That's right. Well, if people are looking to best support you, what are ways that they can go do that?
I mean, obviously, follow and share is always good. I like to try to get my stuff out there as much as I can, so that's always good. But then I do a lot of cons, so I just appreciate people talking to me at cons. I am always approachable and always willing to talk to people. I love to talk shop. So if I'm wearing a costume and you see me and you're like, I like that, talk to me, because I will talk your ear off about how I made it.
And what cons are you going to be at coming up?
In 2 weeks, I will be at MegaCon Orlando. I'm going down there as a guest, so I'll be there. And then I will be in Lexington Con in Lexington, Kentucky. I'll be at Cincinnati this year. I'm guesting at Indiana Comic Con in Indianapolis this year. There's one other one that I have on the books that I can't think of off the top of my head right now.
And are you planning on going to C2E2?
Oh yeah. I'll be at C2E2 as well. Yeah, that's my that's my non-negotiable every year. I have to go there. I already put my personal day in for that the first of the year.
Perfect. I mean, I haven't been to all that many cons, but at this point, C2E2 just feels like homecoming. You see all the people, such good vibes. So when I find you, because my goal now is to find you on the floor, or do you have a panel, or are you judging anything here?
At C2E2, I don't know what my panels are yet, but I have put in for some panels, so I will more than likely have panels. So actually, do you know Ganoza Costuming? She's like the painting expert. Ganoza and I put in for a cell shading panel to teach people how to cell shade costumes. So I'm hoping that one goes through.
Okay. Well, I will get my app and I will schedule to be at your panels, because I need to hear more about this. And I'd love to see you in a conversation with somebody also at your caliber, just to hear the depth of that conversation, because I think that'd be really interesting.
Yeah, we definitely can geek out sometimes. If someone asks a question and I didn't realize what she was going to say and she didn't realize what I was going to say, I'm like, oh, tell me more.
Yeah. You have your own little mini Geek Out Sesh.
Yeah.
But you guys heard him. Drop that follow. Go share. Go find him at the con. Talk his ear off, because he's going to talk yours. But at this moment, do you mind switching gears with me for a little bit, Brian?
Let's do it.
I'm sure we could talk about this all night long, but I want to take your amazing skills and kind of turn them on their head a little bit and see if we can have our own little mini competition.
All right.
Because, y'all, we're going to play 8-Bit Pictionary. And how it works is we've both got our own little art board. I'm going to be sharing mine. And I'm hoping he doesn't look. Don't look at my bad art. And
I just covered up the screen with Boba Fett. There you go.
Perfect. You can still hear me though?
Yeah.
Okay. So we each have a kind of a random character generator that we're going to use to help us decide on a character. We're going to draw it to our best of our ability with this make8bitart.com. Not sponsored, but I probably give them a shout out if I'm using them on the stream. And we're going to come back in a few minutes and look at each other's art and see if we can figure out what it is. Are you ready, Brian?
I am. Where's my generator that I go was like,
oh, did I not send it to you? My bad.
Perhaps not.
Let me come back here. I'm going to drag this away. Okay. Let me copy this and I'm going to send you the link.
Cool.
So that we were both using the same. That's not what I know. Come on. Whole thing. Copy, paste. I'm super prepared for this stream. Can you tell? Okay.
Received.
Send the link. So let's see if we can get a character. I'm not going to show the chat my character because I want them to try to guess as I'm going.
All right.
And like I told you before, just keep hitting that generate until you find one you like. I'm not going to know. Okay. I've got mine. You got yours?
I do. Actually, the first one that came up, I was okay with.
Okay. Then draw away. I'm going to use a mouse for this. I've got a mouse. Right. Chat, you can try to guess mine as we go, but this just became an art stream. Usually T on Wednesday nights is doing the art stuff. You haven't met T, but he's my co-host on this channel. He's a pretty cool dude.
This is harder
By the
than
way,
it looks.
Yeah, control. I don't know if are you doing it on your phone or your computer?
I'm using my computer. I have you in a separate window so I can't cheat.
Okay. Because I know Control Z works for erasing.
Okay.
I found that out. I'm my God. Those are some big chonky ears.
I do better with beads, I will tell you that right now.
I'll grab this one. This one, yeah, that. Chat, can you tell what it is? No, me neither. I remember I had a video game on PlayStation back in the day, and I really liked it. It was a snowboarding game, and I liked it because you could design your own board, but you had to build it this way, like with little 8-bit. It took forever with a PlayStation controller back then. It took forever. But then when it was all basically zoomed out in the video game, it looks pretty cool. God.
This is a mess.
Why do I not believe you? I feel like your mess is my dream come true. I don't know how big or how detailed you're getting. I've only got his head, kind of.
Oh, I mean, I got a whole body going on here.
Okay.
I just don't know if you'll know what body it is.
Continuing. His. Where'd that brown go? There we go. I think he's got blue eyes. I think. Chat, are you following this at all? Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, Shienna! She says yes. Okay.
no.
Okay,
I just
here's
screwed
where
up.
I think. Control Z.
Oh,
Control Z.
Undo.
The hard part is finding the colors. Like, they're not quite where I think they should be.
Yeah.
Like the neutral colors. Okay, that's good enough. I'll do this. No, that's not good enough. Okay, that's good enough. I'll do this. There it is. Oh, that's a wrong color, though. It's really not that color. God. This is why I could not do what you do. Because I am so frustrated and I want to give up. And I haven't even barely run into an issue. Okay. Oh, if you hold it down, you can color like a big coloring book.
Okay.
Honestly, this is going better for me than if I was doing it by hand.
All right, I think I got something going that you might be able to get. Hit upon your history here.
Okay. I've given you no reference as to even know what this is yet. Are you? Give me like a percentage. How much?
I mean, I can go anytime.
Okay.
Of course,
Wait,
I gotta
give you.
I have to take a picture of it
get-
and send it to you, right?
Yes.
All right. I got a picture of it. I will send that to you.
Okay. Let me give. This, at this point, it's not even fair if I give this to you. Let me just do this. And let me just give you a little bit of this. Huh? Okay. Okay, don't look yet.
Okay. I have you on a different window still.
Okay, I'm gonna hide that from stream. DJ thinks he's got what mine is, but let me pull yours up. I've hidden mine from stream.
Okay. I'll come back.
So you're safe to look. All
right.
Look.
There we go.
Okay. Chat, I'm gonna show Brian's first. Let's see if you can guess. Ready? Wow. That is glorious. You did the entire body. You walked around that palette like it was a tray of perler beads. Give me some color.
Now the question is people know what's going on.
DJ says Ash from Evil Dead.
Excellent.
Nice
Excellent. You
job.
got it.
Nice job. That's a point. You know what? I'm going to keep a score even. DJ's got one. Okay. Now I'm going to go back to mine. I'm curious if you know this, Brian. If I was good enough for you to guess. Ready?
All right. I want to know it so badly.
It looks with his ears. It looks like what was that? Like Happy Monkey Go Ball or something with the big ears. But that's not what I meant.
Oh,
Oh, Oceana got it.
Is it a Ghostbuster with a backpack?
Yeah.
All right, I got you.
Ghostbusters.
All right.
Okay, Oceana gets one. It is Bill Murray. Ooh, you. I mean, you know what? I'm gonna give you half a point because you got that it was Bill Murray.
Yeah, very
Based on his
specific.
hair. It almost looks like he's on a toilet. There you go. That tracks. That tracks. All right, you got time for one more?
Oh, sure.
Now that we're finding our stride.
Now that we got it. All right.
Oh wait, no,
I'll
come
click
back.
back out of here. Is there an easy erase all?
I think no. I'm gonna hold Z. Hold Control Z. Oh god, you saw where I was clicking individually. The face took so much longer to erase. Oh, I can't erase those? Okay. Okay. You know what? I'm gonna trick you. I'm gonna do it like this. Boom. Okay. All right, you gotta find my generator. For those listening back on podcast, what's this like for you? Because this can't be good content.
Oh gosh, that's terrible.
Okay. I got it. I got my character. Let me do this. I'm gonna go faster this time. This is my goal. Oceana, you're sweet. She goes, this is great content. I should have warned you. Our chat, our community is just the fucking best. They'll lie to me every day.
Yes.
Yeah, they'll lie to me every day. Tell me I'm doing good. It's what keeps bringing me back, to be honest. I can't ever find Gray. Where's Gray?
Yeah.
Just to move over here.
I was trouble with brown.
You can't even see with this. This is bad color. Bad color. I'm sorry, you can't even see it. TJ says, I don't know, Boser. We talk shop a lot when we do talk. Yeah, we do. No, that's the wrong color. Do it. Okay, DJ's already got 2 guesses. Do you? I'm not sure that I've given you anything worthwhile. Just gonna... say some of this, say some of this, some of this. Okay, okay. Big colors, big colors. By the way, y'all, I would highly recommend go to make8bitart.com. It's a free site. This is actually really fun just to see.
It is fun.
Would you say this is a resource if somebody was not able to just free bead like you are?
Yeah.
At least a way to kind of get the understanding of the pixels?
Absolutely, I would. Yeah.
Because I kind of want to try the whole cell shading in different shades, but have a little more time.
Yeah.
Okay, that's enough. That's enough. Boser.
I feel like I'm not living up to the last one this time.
No, I actually really liked my Ghostbuster. I don't love this as much. I'm trying to tap into my inner Brian Harmon. What would Brian Harmon do? Oh damn, he's got a donk. Oops. Where's Gray again? I can never find Gray when I need it. Oh god, it's getting worse. It's getting worse. Now, I'm definitely thinking of Henry Cavill. Oh, what, with his big old booty? I made it worse. I made it worse. DJ, now this was the third option I wasn't saying to begin with. Okay, so now it's finally coming clear. We'll see about that. Unless I'm just actually that bad and it has nowhere near. Oh, there's a dropper. Thank you. I was trying to find the color that I used before, and I was like, man, if only there was a dropper. And there is.
And there it is.
There it is. We're going to be professionals on this site here in a minute.
All right. I won't call that good enough. I'm just messing around with it and making it worse.
I think I might as well be done. Might as well be done.
Just.
Okay. I'm going to hide mine. I'm going to share yours. You ready?
Let's do it.
Look at this gloriousness. No, I would say this took a step up from your last. You've got more shading in that.
Try some shading this time.
I see some shading. This is beautiful. All right, chat, what do you say? I think it's pretty obvious because you're so good at this. Obviously, it's Frankenstein.
There we go. Very
Frankenstein. Oceano gets another point. Turned out great. I love you even got highlight over here. Come on. What is that?
I tried to up it a little bit.
Speaking of Frankenstein, have you seen Poorer Things?
I've not.
It's in theaters. It's got Emma Stone in it. It was like up for the Academy Award kind of thing, which generally those kind of movies I stray away from because that's not why I go to the movies. I go for some bullshit. But apparently it's some kind of weird version of Frankenstein. I think it's based on some old book.
Gotcha.
Check it out if you're a fan.
That's cool.
Okay, so now let's see if you can guess mine. Don't look at the chat.
Okay,
because I think they already got it. I want to see if Brian Harmon knows.
Oh, it's Lord of the Rings. Gandalf.
Yay!
Hey, very well done.
Yay!
Oh, look at his hand. That's a beautiful hand you got going on there.
Thank you. He's kind of holding it like a gun.
Yeah, that's articulate.
Hand
that's
wrapped
good.
down there.
Yeah,
that was completely by accident. I just scribbled in a circle, and I was like, "Oh, damn, that's a fist."
Yeah.
That works. You can see his big nose.
Yeah, that is.
Check out his. Look at his rump. Look at his rump.
He just has a lot of wind in his cloak.
Yeah, that's gas. That's what you call that. Well, I think officially because DJ didn't. I think DJ knew what it was, but he didn't say it out loud. So sorry, I had to give it to Oceana. Gandalf has a booty. That's 3 points, Oceana. 2 points, DJ, meaning she's our winner. Congrats, Oceana.
Very, very nice.
You win a high five at Hall of Heroes Comic-Con coming up March. I'll be there. Brian, thank you so much for doing this.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. I've enjoyed it.
I enjoyed this way more than I knew I would, but even discussing it, like I have such a greater appreciation for what you do and the art that you're creating, because the energy behind it and just like who I've known you to be tonight. And I'm hoping that in the future we can continue chat and I can get to know you even better and appreciate you even greater.
Absolutely. I'm down for that.
I can't wait to stalk you at C2E2.
Sounds like a plan.
Suddenly show up at every panel you're at and ask all the questions about Warbler at your booth.
Yeah, that sounds good. I'm down for that.
And y'all, thank you so much for joining us. If you enjoyed this, then be sure to stop by Perler Tricks on Instagram, on Facebook, on Etsy. Get your own piece of Perler Tricks art. Get some of those pixel arts that he was talking about at the beginning, and make sure that you keep supporting him and find him at any con that he might be at. Say hello.
If I'm there, come up and say hi.
Yeah. And keep tuning in for these great Geek Out Sessions. If you've had fun, this is what we do every Monday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard. On Wednesdays, T will be going live. He's been doing some miniature painting. He's been playing some games. He's doing just chatting. So that's a great time. A lot of times we can't spend as much time chatting with all of you on a Monday because it's mostly about the guest. But on Wednesdays, it's mostly about you. So stop by and then catch our ongoing TTRPG campaign using Fate Core Systems, my own personal homebrew. My first time, super proud of it. Those launch on Saturdays on YouTube and podcast. This was amazing. And once again, I forgot to tell my guest how we sign off here. So while I am finding someone to raid, if Alec would like to offer one, then yes, please. You can even set it up, Alex, since you're modding. But around here, we like to say, until next time, you just keep, and then you say geeking out.
Oh, okay. I can do that.
Okay. You can do that.
I can do it.
We are taking the energy to Jotorius. But until next time, I am Boser. Who are you?
I am Perler Tricks, Brian.
And you just keep geeking out. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Wow.